there's a phenomenon that is counterintuitive. And I've discovered this over 40 years ago, nearly 50 years ago. And I studied a bunch of companies to find out how well they were serving their customers. And I found out that the more inventory that companies had, the less able they were to satisfy their customers when they needed to be satisfied. And the less inventory they had, the more likely they were to be able to service customers in a timely fashion. The principle of buffers is just the reverse. You're always able to do whatever it is you need to do. But the problem is that you've got a lot of something you don't need, and you don't have what you do need. And how do you know what you do need? And how do you know what you don't need? And in my studies, I found out that most inventory is virtually scrap in most companies. And yet, generally accepted accounting principles, it has to be kept on the books at beginning value. You can't depreciate inventory. You have to physically dispose of the inventory to take it off your books. So you find any company that's got a ballooning inventory, you know they're in financial trouble, but they don't appear to be in financial trouble because the generally accepted accounting principles call that inventory the same as money. And it isn't money. You can't sell it. You can't use it. And it's basically a waste. And the big part of the waste, it's something you don't need now, and therefore it consumes time and space and care. All these things are really wrong. So you really want to find a way to get rid of buffers as much as you possibly can, and get rid of inventory as best you can, and be prepared to do anything on relatively short notice. Well, in my own mind, companies should manage themselves mostly on cash flow and not on what they call profits. Profits are classically determined by balance sheets. You have a balance of on assets at one period, and a year later, say, you have another balance of assets. You do a subtraction, and you have a profit or a loss based on those assets. The game to be played is, what do you call an asset? And if you were, say, a smart MBA that's just been put in charge of a division of a company, the first thing you do is you try to get rid of all the inventory that as much as possible that they have, and write it off, because you don't want to have that albatross around your neck. But when December comes and you haven't made your numbers for the year, you build inventory because it looks like profit. It's because it's called money. You know, that inventory that you built just to fatten up the company, you're actually, the costing, generally accepted accounting costing principles include profit in that inventory. That's dumb, but that's the way it's done.